The Whaley House, located in San Diego, California, is often cited as one of the most haunted houses in the United States. Constructed in 1857 by Thomas Whaley, the house was originally a general store and later became the family home. Almost immediately after its completion, it began to attract attention not just for its elegant design, but also for the ghostly tales that would follow. The property was built on the site of a former gallows, where a man named James "Yankee Jim" Robinson was hanged for theft in 1852. Locals have long believed that his spirit haunts the area, and many visitors have reported sightings of a tall, dark figure in the yard and inside the house. Witnesses often describe the sensation of a heavy presence or an inexplicable feeling of being watched. The Whaley family itself was plagued by tragedy. Thomas Whaley's wife, Anna, lost several of their children in early childhood, and their daughter, Violet, tragically took her own life in the home in 1885. Residents and guests have claimed to see Violet's ghost, often reported wearing a white dress, wandering the hallways, especially in her old bedroom. Visitors have also heard unexplained crying, laughter, and footsteps echoing through the rooms. In addition to the apparitions of the Whaley family, paranormal investigators and ghost hunters have noted other mysterious figures. Some have reported the fleeting image of a woman in a long dress, believed to be a friend or relative of the family, and others have described seeing shadowy figures moving about the house. Cold spots, unexplained noises, and objects moving on their own have all contributed to the house's haunted reputation. Today, the Whaley House operates as a museum and a popular tourist attraction, drawing those intrigued by its history and its ghostly residents. The spirits of the past linger within its walls, keeping the stories of the Whaley family and the dark history of the land alive for future generations to uncover. Visitors leave with a sense of connection to a bygone era, each experience adding another layer to the haunting legend of the Whaley House. As the sun set over San Diego, casting long shadows across the Whaley House, a group of curious visitors gathered outside, eager to step inside the infamous abode. The guide, a local historian with a penchant for the paranormal, greeted them with a knowing smile. "Welcome to the Whaley House," he began, his voice low and filled with intrigue. "Tonight, you'll not only hear the tales of the Whaley family, but perhaps even encounter a few of their spirits." The visitors exchanged excited glances, a mix of anticipation and trepidation coursing through them. As they crossed the threshold, the atmosphere shifted. The air grew heavier, laden with the weight of history. As they stepped into the parlor adorned with antique furnishings, the smell of aged wood and wax lingering around them, the guide started recounting the stories of Thomas and Anna Whaley, their lives interwoven with triumph and tragedy. He explained how the family had moved in, their hopes for a bright future, only to be met with a series of heartbreaking losses. As he spoke, the lights flickered, causing a murmur of unease among the group. Many visitors have reported strange occurrences. The guide continued, leading them through the dimly lit rooms. Cold spots, unexplained sounds, and even sightings of Violet Whaley, who reportedly wanders these halls, still searching for peace. He gestured toward a grand staircase, where the shadows seemed to dance, teasing the imagination. Just as the group reached the second floor, a chilling breeze swept through the hallway, making the candles flicker and casting eerie shadows on the walls. One visitor, a skeptical young woman named Sarah, felt an involuntary shiver run down her spine. "It's just an old house," she whispered to her friend, trying to shake off the discomfort. But deep down, she felt an unsettling awareness that they were not alone. As they entered Violet's room, the guide paused, allowing the group to take in the ornate furnishings and the vintage photographs that adorned the walls. "This was Violet's sanctuary," he said softly. "After her tragic end, many believe her spirit remains here, longing for the life she lost." Suddenly, a loud thump echoed from the attic above, causing everyone to jump. The guide smiled knowingly, clearly accustomed to the reactions of his guests. "That's just a friendly reminder of who still roams these halls," he joked, but the laughter that followed felt nervous, more out of a desire to dismiss the tension in the air. The group moved on, descending into the dining room where the guide shared chilling accounts of other visitors who had felt an unseen presence during their tours. Some have reported hearing laughter or the sound of a child playing, and others have seen a shadowy figure dart across the room. Just last week, a couple captured an unexplained orb of light in this very spot, he said, gesturing to the corner. At that moment, Sarah noticed something out of the corner of her eye. A glimmer of movement near the window caught her attention. She squinted, trying to make out the shape. Was it a trick of the light or something more? The sensation of being watched crept back over her, wrapping around her like a cold fog. Feeling a surge of curiosity, Sarah stepped closer to the window, her heart racing. She gasped when she saw a faint figure standing outside in the yard, the outline of a tall man wearing old-fashioned clothing. He seemed to be staring at the house, his face obscured by the darkness. Just as she opened her mouth to call out, the figure vanished into thin air. Startled, Sarah turned back to the group, but no one else seemed to have noticed. "Did anyone else see that?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. The guide looked at her, his expression shifting from amusement to concern. "It's not unusual for visitors to see apparitions," he said, his voice steady. "You may have caught a glimpse of Yankee Jim himself." The group moved on, but Sarah remained on edge, her curiosity piqued and fear entwined. She couldn't shake the feeling that the house was more alive than it appeared, its spirits interwoven with the fabric of their lives, watching, waiting. As they continued their exploration, the air seemed to thrum with energy, each creak of the floorboards echoing the stories of those who had come before. Suddenly, the lights flickered again, this time plunging the room into darkness for several seconds before returning to their dim glow. In that moment of darkness, a whisper wafted through the air, an indistinct voice, barely audible, yet filled with an urgency that sent a shiver down Sarah's spine. "Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story." "Did you hear that?" Sarah asked, her voice barely above a whisper, her heart racing. The group turned to her, some with curiosity, others with skepticism. The guide nodded solemnly. "Yes, the Whaley House is known for its whispers and murmurs. Many say it's the spirits trying to communicate." He paused, looking around the room as if expecting something to materialize. "If you're open to it, sometimes simply asking a question can provoke a response." Intrigued yet apprehensive, Sarah decided to give it a try. She took a deep breath and said, "Is anyone here with us? Can you show us a sign?" Silence enveloped them, thick and expectant, as if the house were holding its breath. For a moment nothing happened. Then, as if in answer to her plea, a soft thumping echoed from the attic above them once more. The sound was rhythmic, almost like footsteps pacing back and forth. The visitors exchanged nervous glances, a mixture of excitement and fear swirling among them. "Some believe it could be Violet," the guide offered, leaning in closer. "She might be trying to communicate with us." Feeling emboldened, Sarah pressed on. "Violet, if you're here, please let us know you're with us. You can knock or make a noise." As her words faded into the silence, another thump resonated from the attic, louder this time, followed by a low creaking sound that made the floorboards tremble. A chill swept through the room, causing Sarah to shudder. "This is insane," she murmured, both frightened and exhilarated. Just then, the lights flickered again, plunging the room into darkness for an instant longer than before. When they returned, Sarah noticed a shadowy figure lingering at the far end of the dining room. It seemed to waver like a candle flame, and then it vanished, leaving only the smell of lavender in its wake. She felt her breath catch in her throat, the realization dawning that she might not be alone in her experience. "Did you see that?" she exclaimed, pointing towards the spot where the figure had been. The guide turned, a spark of recognition in his eyes. "You may have just encountered Violet. She is often associated with the scent of lavender, especially in the dining room. Why would she be here?" Sarah pondered, her mind racing. What does she want? Perhaps she wants to share her story, the guide suggested, his tone becoming more serious. Or maybe she's seeking closure for her own tragic past. Spirits often linger when they have unfinished business. Feeling a surge of empathy, Sarah spoke again, her voice steadier now. Violet, if you can hear me, we want to understand. We want to help if we can. The air grew thick with anticipation as the group waited, hoping for a response. Suddenly, a soft breeze flowed through the room, sending a shiver down their spines. The curtains fluttered lightly, and the unmistakable sound of a child's laughter echoed, bright and clear, reverberating off the walls. The guide's eyes widened in astonishment. That's a strong sign, he murmured. Violet may be trying to reach out to you. Sarah felt a warmth envelop her, and without thinking, she stepped further into the room, drawn by an invisible thread. What do you want, Violet? She asked softly, her heart pounding with both fear and determination. For a moment, there was nothing but silence. Then the temperature in the room dropped sharply, and the laughter transformed into a whisper, clear enough for Sarah to discern, "Help me." The plea sent chills down her spine, igniting a sense of purpose. "Help you how?" she asked, her voice filled with urgency. "What can we do?" The laughter returned, echoing in a way that felt both joyous and sorrowful. The guide stepped closer, sensing the shift in energy. Sometimes spirits are tied to locations due to unresolved issues, past traumas, or unfulfilled desires. Violet may need us to acknowledge her pain. Sarah nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. "We're listening, Violet. You're not alone anymore. We want to help you find peace." The atmosphere shifted again, the energy in the room crackling with anticipation. Just then, the attic door creaked open, slowly revealing a darkened staircase leading up into the unknown. The group stood in stunned silence, the only sound their collective breathing. With a mixture of fear and determination, Sarah turned to the others. "Should we go up there? Maybe that's where she wants us to go." The guide looked hesitant but nodded. "If you feel brave enough, sometimes confronting the source can lead to answers. But be cautious. The spirits here can be unpredictable." Taking a deep breath, Sarah stepped toward the staircase, her heart pounding in her chest. She felt a strange pull, a whispering urge to move forward. "I'll go first," she declared, her voice steady despite the anxiety swirling within her. As she ascended the creaking steps, the air grew colder, and the shadows danced around her, flickering in the dim light. Each step felt like a step deeper into the unknown, but with each heartbeat, she felt more resolute. The others followed closely, their presence offering a sense of solidarity. At the top of the stairs, the attic door stood ajar, the faint scent of lavender stronger than ever. Sarah pushed the door open slowly, revealing a dimly lit space filled with dusty trunks and old furniture draped in white sheets. The atmosphere was thick with history, and she felt the weight of the house pressing in around her. "Violet," she called out softly, stepping further inside. The air crackled with energy, and for a moment, all was still. Then, the temperature dropped again, and a soft figure materialized before her. Shimmering in the dim light, a woman in a flowing white dress, her features delicate and ethereal. Violet stood there, her expression one of longing mixed with gratitude. The group held their breath, and in that moment, they understood the depth of her sorrow and the reason she lingered. She wanted to be remembered, to have her story told, to find peace in a world that had forgotten her. As Sarah stepped forward, she felt a surge of compassion, an overwhelming desire to connect with this lost soul. "We see you, Violet. We're here for you." The spirit smiled, a soft, wistful expression, and as she did, the attic filled with light. The whispers became clearer, and for the first time, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of hope, as though they were on the brink of unlocking the key to Violet's peace. As Sarah reached out her hand, she felt a warmth radiating from the spirit of Violet, as if the air around them pulsed with energy and emotion. "Thank you," Violet's voice echoed softly in the attic, a sound both haunting and soothing. "Thank you for remembering me." The guide and the other visitors stood transfixed, a sense of reverence filling the air. "What do you need from us?" Sarah asked, her heart racing. "How can we help you find peace?" Violet's gaze seemed to penetrate through the veil of time, her expression shifting from sorrow to something akin to hope. "I am bound here by my pain, and the loss of those I loved. Her ethereal form flickered, revealing hints of the vibrant young woman she once was. I wish to tell my story, to be remembered, not just as a ghost but as a person who lived and loved. As the weight of her words sank in, Sarah felt a deep connection to Violet. You deserve to be remembered, she affirmed. We can share your story. We can tell people who you were, what you went through, and honor your memory. A flicker of joy sparkled in Violet's eyes, and the air around them shimmered with energy. Will you do that for me? She asked, her voice trembling with emotion. Will you help me be free? Yes, Sarah promised, her voice steady with conviction. We'll make sure everyone knows your story. As the words left her lips, the atmosphere in the attic shifted dramatically. The air felt lighter, the shadows retreating as if Violet's spirit was beginning to unfurl from the binds of her sorrow. The room glowed faintly, and a gust of wind swept through, carrying the scent of lavender that filled their lungs with warmth and comfort. The other visitors, inspired by Sarah's courage, stepped forward. We'll help, one of them declared. We'll tell your story. In that moment of unity, Violet began to shimmer brighter, her form solidifying and becoming more distinct. Thank you. Thank you all, she whispered, her voice resonating through the attic like a gentle melody. As they stood there, a brilliant light enveloped Violet, illuminating the attic in a warm glow. The old furniture and trunks seemed to fade into the background, their presence dwarfed by the radiant energy surrounding her. You have given me hope, Violet continued, her spirit lifting with each word. You've reminded me of the love I once knew. With a final, blissful smile, she began to dissolve into a cascade of sparkling light, filling the room with a soft glow. The whispers faded into a harmonious chorus, lifting the weight of years of sorrow. I am free, Violet's voice echoed, ringing with clarity and peace as her spirit ascended, leaving behind an atmosphere of serenity. As the light dimmed, the attic returned to its ordinary state, but the air felt different, charged with a sense of closure and tranquility. Sarah and the group exchanged glances, a mixture of awe and relief washing over them. They had witnessed something extraordinary, a connection to the past that transcended the bounds of life and death. Stepping back down the creaking stairs, Sarah felt lighter, as if she too had been unburdened by the experience. The guide led them back to the main floor, where the other visitors gathered, their faces bright with excitement. Did you feel that? One woman exclaimed. It was incredible. The guide nodded, his expression one of respect. What you've just experienced is rare. You've helped Violet find her peace, and in turn, you've forged a connection with the history of this place. As they left the Whaley House, the group felt an unspoken bond, united by their shared experience. They exchanged stories of their lives, laughing and reflecting on the unexpected journey they had taken together. In the days that followed, Sarah took it upon herself to write about Violet's story, capturing the essence of her life and struggles, determined to share it with the world. She reached out to local historians and ghost tours, eager to ensure that Violet's name would not be forgotten. As her article spread, interest in the Whaley House grew, not just as a haunted attraction but as a site of history and humanity. The stories of the Whaley family, of their joys and sorrows, were retold, and Violet's spirit was honored in ways that had never been done before. In time, the Whaley House became a place not only of fear but of connection, a sanctuary for those seeking to understand the past. Visitors now came to listen, to learn, and to honor the stories of those who had come before. And on quiet nights, when the wind would rustle the leaves outside, some would swear they could still smell lavender wafting through the air, a gentle reminder that love endures, even beyond death. As Sarah's article gained traction, it caught the attention of local news outlets, and soon a feature was planned about the Whaley House and its haunted history. As the cameras rolled, she shared not only Violet's story but also the tales of the other Whaley family members, highlighting their lives and the legacy they left behind. With each retelling, the legend of the Whaley House grew, attracting visitors from far and wide. Many came seeking thrills, while others sought a deeper connection to the past. Each guest brought their own stories, their own energy, adding to the rich tapestry of the house's history. Sarah organized guided tours that focused on the history of the family alongside the paranormal aspects, ensuring that each visitor would leave with a newfound respect for those who had lived and died within those walls. On the anniversary of Violet's passing, Sarah coordinated a special event at the Whaley House. Guests were invited to share stories, light candles, and leave flowers in memory of the Whaley family. That night, as the sun set and the sky turned a deep shade of indigo, an atmosphere of reverence filled the air. Visitors gathered in the courtyard, the soft glow of candles illuminating their faces, creating an almost ethereal scene. As they stood in a circle, Sarah led a moment of silence, encouraging everyone to reflect on the lives that had touched the house and their own lives. A gentle breeze swept through, rustling the leaves above and stirring the candles' flames. Many attendees reported a sense of peace washing over them, a feeling that Violet's spirit was present, grateful for the love and recognition. Later that evening, as the last guests departed and the candles flickered in the cool night air, Sarah lingered for a moment. She closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of the house around her. The history seeped into the very walls. "Thank you, Violet," she whispered into the stillness, a feeling of connection enveloping her. In that moment, she felt a sense of fulfillment, knowing that she had helped ensure that Violet and the Whaley family would never be forgotten. The stories they had shared would live on, a testament to the resilience of the human spirit, transcending time and space. As Sarah turned to leave, she caught a glimpse of something out of the corner of her eye, a fleeting figure in white, standing at the edge of the courtyard. For a brief second, she felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over her, and she knew that Violet was at peace. With a smile, Sarah stepped out of the Whaley house, feeling hopeful for the future. The stories of the past would continue to resonate, bridging the gap between the living and the departed, reminding everyone that love, memory, and connection endure, echoing through time, just like the whispers of those who once called the Whaley house home. Don't forget to subscribe and like if you liked this story.